What if I told you there were terrifying gods that entire civilizations constantly feared? Gods whose anger could erase cities instantly, so powerful that just hearing their name sent chills down spines. What dark forces did these gods truly control? And why were the most revered deities of the ancient world also its greatest fears? In the ancient world, gods weren't just objects of worship. They were forces of nature, teeming with power, wrath, and destruction. These beings weren't viewed as kind protectors, but as unpredictable forces that could just as easily bring ruin as they could bring fortune. Imagine living in a world where the gods you pray to could send storms, trigger earthquakes, or drag you into an eternal underworld with a single thought. But why were these gods so feared? Why did ancient civilizations not only pray for blessings, but beg for mercy? From death itself to the wild chaos of nature, these gods ruled realms beyond human understanding. Today, we're removing the curtain on the dark powers that terrified and awed the ancient world. Over the next few minutes, we'll uncover the destructive forces these gods wielded, powers that still stir a strange fascination and mystery. You might think you know these gods, but the truth behind their fearsome legacies is far darker than you can imagine. Keep watching, because what we uncover next is more than you expect. Throughout history, gods have often been seen as all-powerful figures who offer protection, wisdom, and guidance. Today, when we think of gods, especially in modern religions, we picture compassionate beings who inspire love and devotion. But ancient civilizations didn't worship gods for comfort. They worshipped them out of fear. These gods weren't just omnipotent, they were unpredictable, which made them terrifying. Consider it momentarily. In today's world, the idea of a god bringing destruction or chaos seems foreign. We associate gods with peace, love, and spiritual fulfillment. But in ancient times, gods were seen as forces that could instantly change the course of life or death. Whether Zeus was throwing thunderbolts from the heavens or Hades pulling souls into the eternal darkness of the underworld, these gods weren't just symbols, they were dangerous. Ancient gods weren't simply all-powerful, they were unpredictable. And it's that unpredictability that made them so terrifying. As we dive deeper into their legacies, you'll see how their raw power shaped the lives of those who worshipped them, and why they were feared more than loved. Hades, Lord of the Underworld. Hades, god of the underworld, held dominion over death, making him one of the most feared deities in ancient Greek mythology. His realm was a place where escape was impossible, and the fate of every soul rested in his hands. Unlike the life-giving gods, Hades governed what lay beyond, instilling terror not just for his control over death, but because of his ability to decide the eternal fate of souls. To anger, Hades meant facing endless darkness, where suffering could endure for eternity. The Greeks believed the underworld could be a peaceful eternity for the virtuous or a place of torment for the wicked, but only Hades had the power to decide which path a soul would take. His rule was absolute, and once a soul entered his realm, even the gods couldn't challenge his power. But Hades' wrath wasn't confined to the afterlife. He could unleash disasters upon the living as well, sending plagues or famine as signs of his displeasure. Fear of being trapped in his dark domain forever drove civilizations to offer reverence, for their existence was at his judgment's mercy. Zeus, the thunderous king. Zeus, the king of the Greek gods, wielded the power of thunder and lightning, and with it, he could lay waste to the earth. In a world where storms could ravage cities and destroy crops, his wrath was a direct reflection of divine punishment. When lightning struck, it wasn't a random occurrence. It was a warning from Zeus, a reminder that defying the king of the gods would come at a cost. Zeus' fury was more than a natural disaster. It was a reminder that the gods controlled the very forces of nature. His storms could bring droughts, floods, and earthquakes, turning the natural world into a weapon of divine retribution. The Greeks understood that to anger Zeus was to invite calamity, for his power could instantly reshape the world. Zeus's storms weren't just about destruction, they were a statement of his authority. Even the mightiest of mortals couldn't escape his wrath once it was unleashed. Zeus wasn't just a protector, but a force of nature, unpredictable and terrifying. Kali, goddess of destruction. Kali, the terrifying goddess of destruction, chaos, and transformation, represented the raw, unbridled force of annihilation. In Hindu mythology, she wasn't merely a goddess of death. She was the cosmic force that dismantled the old to make way for the new. Her wild-haired and blood-stained appearance struck fear into the hearts of those who invoked her. Kaylee's presence in battle was a harbinger of total destruction, capable of turning victory into dust. Her anger wasn't just about death, it was about breaking down the fabric of existence itself. To invoke Kaylee meant to invite total chaos, and her wrath was swift and merciless. In her world, bloodshed was a means to bring about a new cosmic order, but it came at a horrifying price. Kaylee's rituals, often involving blood sacrifices, only added to her terrifying nature. While she was believed to grant power to those who honored her, failure to appease her could result in swift and brutal retribution. Her rage was a reminder of the delicate balance between creation and destruction, and how quickly the cycle could turn into total chaos. Ra, the sun god. Ra, the ancient Egyptian god of the sun, controlled the forces of life and death, bringing light to the world with his daily journey across the sky. But his power wasn't just about giving life, it was also about destruction. If Ra's gaze turned away, darkness would fall, and life would wither beneath the scorching sun. The Egyptians feared Ra, not just because he gave life, but because his wrath could end instantly. Ra's fury was symbolized by his scorching rays, which could bring droughts and famines to the earth. His divine agents, like Sekhmet, the lioness goddess of war, were sent to punish humanity when Ra's favor turned to anger. But Ra's power didn't end with the sun's heat. At night, he descended into the Underworld, where he fought the serpent Apep. If Ra failed in this battle, the world would be plunged into eternal darkness, and all life would perish. Ra embodied the delicate balance between life and death. He gave light, but his wrath could plunge the world into chaos. To anger him meant facing divine retribution. Life itself could be snuffed out by the god who controlled the very sun. His power was a reminder of how fragile life truly is. The gods we've explored, Hades, Zeus, Kaylee, and Ra, weren't just beings of destruction. They were the raw forces that maintained the balance of the cosmos. These gods represented life and death, creation and destruction, a delicate equilibrium that sustained the world. They weren't feared for the sake of chaos. Their wrath was necessary to preserve the universe's harmony. Fear and respect for these gods were inseparable because without their wrath, existence itself would crumble. To the ancients, these gods embodied the natural laws that governed the universe. Without Zeus's storms or Hades's control over the afterlife, life would spiral into disorder. Kaylee's destructive force was the catalyst for transformation, and without Ra's sun, neither life nor death could exist. These gods' power was both a blessing and a curse, yet it was also irreplaceable. They weren't capricious, they were essential. The real terror lay not only in their immense power, but in their unpredictability. Their wrath could strike without warning, affecting anyone, from commoners to kings. No one was safe from their fury. Yet this constant threat wasn't just fear. It was a reminder of the fragile balance that civilization relied upon. There was no room for complacency in a world ruled by gods like these. They enforced the rules that kept everything in order. Displeasing them could instantly shift the balance, plunging societies into ruin. In the end, the fine line between fear and respect becomes clear. These gods demanded reverence, and their wrath was a tool that upheld the delicate balance of the world. Fear, then, wasn't just a reaction. It was a form of deep recognition, acknowledging their unfathomable power and their crucial role in shaping the fate of all things. Conclusion: these gods were feared because of their immense power and unpredictable nature. Their influence over life and death was absolute, making their wrath a force that could reshape the world. Fear wasn't something to avoid for ancient civilizations. It was a form of reverence. The gods' volatile tempers weren't just signs of chaos. They represented the balance that kept the universe in harmony. The constant threat of their fury reminded the ancients that life itself was fragile, and that the gods' power was both a blessing and a warning. Fear, in this context, was the deepest respect. Intrigued by these mighty gods? Subscribe now to uncover more ancient myths where power, fear, and reverence collide.